Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Melodyne to both tune your vocals and adjust timing in your vocal takes. So the first thing, this is just a track that I literally just got done comping it. So I had the 3 takes here, and then I narrowed that down to this take right here in red. And then I have a couple ad-lib tracks as well that I pulled from the tracks because during these instrumental breaks I would do some ad-libs. Right, you know, just some ad-libs and stuff like that. So let me walk you through now how exactly you can use Melodyne to adjust the tuning and the timing. This is especially for if you're not using auto-tune and you just want a very subtle adjustment, right? If you're using auto-tune, often that'll take care of most of these problems. But even if you're using auto-tune, sometimes the auto-tune won't know what to do with the note if it's too far off. And then in that instance, Melodyne can be a great tool to adjust it so that the auto-tune plugin can know what note it's supposed to pitch correct it towards, because if it's right in between 2 notes, sometimes it makes the auto-tune work in a wonky way. So let's get started. Now here's where verse 1 starts.
Clearly the world has gone mad. We're probably over our skis. Just a little.
Now I'm running this through some temporary processing using JJP vocals here on this lead vocals bus, as well as a little bit of EQ, which I don't remember putting on here. Okay, yes, I have a cut in the 2K range. Just that way it gives me, as well I'm sending it to some reverb. That way it feels like it's at least somewhat mixed, so we can get into the vibe and the energy of the song, or at least get it closer to what it will actually sound like in its final form. So let's dive into how to use Melodyne to tune this. So the first pass that we're going to do now is just focusing on the tuning of it. And again, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm treating this vocal as if I'm not going to put any auto-tune on it at all. So I'm only using Melodyne for specific notes to adjust specific notes that are too pitchy. So let me load up Melodyne here, which I'm using Melodyne Essential. You don't need to use the premium version. I don't even know what I would use the premium version for. Melodyne Essential comes with the Studio One software, so it's very nicely integrated into Studio One, but I think the Melodyne Essential, if you don't use Studio One, I think it's maybe around $100 or something, I'm not sure. But I don't think you need, unless you use Melodyne for very advanced purposes and you use it in a very sophisticated way, maybe the advanced version works for you, but I use it in a very simplistic, straightforward way, both with tuning and timing. So here is the verse again. And now I'm just going to listen for any notes that feel too pitchy and to the point where they start to sound a bit distracting and unprofessional.
It's gone mad.
Let me start that over.
Clearly the world has gone mad.
Gone mad. Let me see here.
World has gone mad.
Maybe move this one.
It's gone mad.
Now you want to make sure, this is very important, you want to make sure that the pitch grid is turned to no snap, because if it's set to a chromatic snap or a scale snap, then it's going to shoot it from an entire note to the next note, and I'm not a fan of that, right? I like to take these notes and only adjust the notes. I don't like to do full scale, select the entire track and do like the basically auto-tune settings built into Melodyne. I don't like to take that approach because the reason we're using Melodyne in the first place is because we're not using auto-tune, right? So here again.
The world has gone mad.
Sounds good.
We're probably over our skis. Just a little.
Okay, a little. Little there is a bit pitchy.
Just a little.
Whoop, I forgot to turn that snap off. Okay.
Just a little.
Whoops.
Just a little. Just a little.
Wow, that sounds really bad. Why is it?
Just a little.
Okay. Let me go back to where it was originally. I think it was there.
Just a little.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is, this is a full note here, but we only want to adjust half of this, right? So what do? Well, if you hover over with your mouse and this little icon pops up with the left and right arrows in a line down the middle, if you double click it, it splits the note right there. So that allows you to make more precise adjustments instead of having to adjust that whole length.
Just a little.
Which, yeah, we want to tune that up a little bit.
Just a little. Just a little.
That sounds...
Just a little. Just a little. Just a little.
Okay, yeah, so
Just a little.
there we go. It took me a second to get this, and this is... I'm just going to leave this in because this is often how it goes in Melodyne. You just need to very much focus, make sure that you're not doing too many adjustments or too many adjustments in a wonky way to the point where it'll get that very unpleasant robotic sort of effect, right? So I think I landed on...
Just a little.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Escape with some Radiohead. Time moves slow, time moves fast.
Let me start that over again.
Escape with some Radiohead. Time moves slow, time
Move slow.
moves slow. Time moves slow, time
Oh wait, no, that's the first part of slow.
time moves slow, time
There we go.
moves fast.
Right, it takes it'll take some time if you're not used to this to really paying attention to the precise pitches of these.
Time moves slow, time moves
Maybe it's just a bit too much. Let me move it slightly up.
time moves slow, time moves fast.
And then time, it's not quite hitting the top note like I wanted to.
Slow, time moves.
Time.
Time.
Right, it's supposed to be up here.
Time moves slow, time moves fast.
There we go. See, it hits that 4. It hits that E flat up there.
Moves slow, time moves fast. It's a crazy adventure.
Right? So, there we go. I'm not going to go through the entire song because, you know, then it's just you watching me make moves on my vocal when what you should be focusing on is your vocal. So, but hopefully this gives you a sense, an idea of how Melodyne works and how it works to tune it. Remember, the two big things when it comes to within the software itself is, again, options, pitch grid. Make sure that it's on no snap. You don't want your notes to snap into place or to snap to specific notes. You want to be able to make fine-tune adjustments. The other one is if you have a note and you want to adjust, say, the front half or the back half of it, but Melodyne has put that as one full note, then if you need to split anything at any time, you can always do that by hovering on top of a note and then double-clicking when this icon pops up, like so. So that is how you tune your vocals. This will take some time. This will take reps. It'll take practice. Melodyne is not one of those plugins that are necessarily that fun to do, right? But it's one of those things where, especially if your vocal is very pitchy to the point where even if you're using autotune and it doesn't know, or your autotune doesn't know what to do with some of the pitches because they're that far off or they're right between two notes, right? Melodyne can really help to smooth over those notes before they go into the autotune. That way you get more of a natural and better sound. Now let's focus a bit, just for a second, on how to adjust timing on your vocals using Melodyne. Now, timing is one of those things that I really try to keep to a minimum in the editing phase because I pay very close attention when I'm recording my vocals and when I'm comping them and when I'm choosing which takes to use, that they have good timing. I try not to edit timing at all. The goal is to not edit the timing on the vocal at all. Sometimes you need to, and that's fine. Reason being, there's nothing that can replace a well-timed vocal performance in a vocal take where you feel that elasticity effect, right? It's almost like an elastic band where it's stretching and it's releasing and stretching, where you have that effect. And once again, when you're messing with timing in Melodyne, go to options, go to time grid, and make sure that it is not active, because you don't want it to snap. If it's active and the time grid is active, it'll snap it very inconveniently. Like you can't even move these. Here, let me see if I can do that one. I can't even move these because of the notes that are next to them. Right? Let me try moving it to, say, a 30-second note, right? So now it snaps it to that scale, which is not ideal. So you want to make sure the time grid is off. That way, again, you can make fine-tune adjustments just like we did on the pitch. So I'm just going to run through this verse again, and I'm just going to see if there are potential things that we could adjust the timing on, or potential words or phrases.
Clearly the world has gone mad. Clearly the world has gone mad.
Now let's say
World has gone.
the word gone, right? We could just move that over.
The world has gone mad.
Obviously doesn't sound good. Now what's really cool about, obviously because of this, okay.
The world has gone mad. We're probably over our ski.
But again, like, we're probably over our ski. That's not what we're after. We're not after this straightforward, the timing of the vocal needs to be on a grid. That is not how you get a good timed vocal, because that isn't how you feel that elastic band effect. Often you want the vocal to hit a little bit earlier and have that stretching effect, or to hit maybe even slightly after the beat. You want to feel that ride and to feel that energy and that tension. So I feel pretty good about the timing on this vocal. I'm probably not going to make very many adjustments at all once I go in and finish editing this song or this vocal. But there is one more thing that I want you to be aware of with Melodyne, and it's a really cool, sneaky little feature. So when you are adjusting the timing on a note, what happens in Melodyne is it will automatically stretch the note that comes before it. So if, let's say, this note hit too early, skis, and I want to stretch that I want that to be later. Notice how it stretches the word before it.
Skis.
Right? That is super great for workflow, and it keeps everything glued together and keeps everything running smoothly. See, this is why Melodyne is a much better tool to use to adjust timing than just using the clips within your DAW, right? So if you just use these clips, if you go and adjust the timing of, say, just this half, right, and you move it, well, then you have to adjust the ones that come before and the ones that come after often, right? So that's a real pain. Melodyne, however, you don't have that problem. So highly recommend, again, if you are a Studio One Pro user, you've got Melodyne Essential built in. And like I said, there's no need for me to spend whatever it is, $300, $400, $500 on the Pro version or the premium version of Melodyne. I only use it for very basic purposes to fix very specific problems, because I don't believe in relying on Melodyne. I believe in getting a good vocal take. So that is my little crash course on how to use Melodyne, how to think about Melodyne versus Auto-Tune, and how to use it to both adjust timing problems and pitch problems in your vocal.